So we are live. Yes. Okay. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on your time zone. I greet every one of you on this great conference, EduTalks, which aims to bring together educators, trainers, coaches from different countries to discuss and explore and share the latest developments and challenges in the field of education. This conference is a platform for learning, sharing ideas, and collaborating with one another to find solutions to the pressing issues that we face in our daily work in the field of education. It's an honor to be here, and I'm grateful for this great chance to the IIU International Internship University and its founder, Mr. Piyush Pandit. So let me first begin with giving you brief information about IIU. IIU is a leading virtual education platform, and it's trusted, well-reputed worldwide for delivering quality training programs, seminars to the young people across the globe. With the help of its more than 1,000 global educators, it provides quality training programs, more than 1,000 courses and internships. And in a short span of time, IIU has spread its wings in 195 countries and 6 continents. Under the strong leadership of our visionary founder, Mr. Piyush Pandit. So today we have many interesting guests from different parts of the world. And now I would like to invite our guest of honor, Dr. Deidre Layonga from the USA. Currently, she works as an education consultant specializing in new teacher development. An educator of 17 years, she has served teachers and students in the capacity of teacher, transformational coach, and school administrator. True educators never graduate. This quote has been the driving force behind Dr. Layonga obtaining both her master's and doctorate in educational leadership. In almost 20 years of service, she has come to specialize in instructional matters regarding urban school districts composed of low social, economic, and high minority populations. She has managed instructional programs for 4 school turnaround projects, and student gains reflected at least 75% growth, and she has received state and national recognition for her work. You are welcome, Dr. Deidre Layonga. The floor is yours.
You are, yeah. Good morning, everyone. Or wait, good evening where you are, right?
Yes.
Good evening. Okay, so let's first of all, let me say I'm so honored to be here. I was excited to receive the invitation and am just I'm just excited about sharing whatever knowledge I have. I have so many things. Lately, I've been talking about more so about instructional leadership, but it's my understanding that this platform is for teachers, young teachers who are going out into the field to teach and change the minds of our little ones out there. Is that correct? Yes. 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 I was looking at you, Shalala.
Yes, please. Yes.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, then today I want to spend my 10 minutes talking about changing our minds as it relates to classroom management. I know that classroom management is mostly being taught as managing behavior. But I believe, and what I have seen is that if we're going to be able to manage the behavior of our students, then we have to change our paradigm as it relates to what classroom management really, really is. It's not the referrals or just the phone calls home or all of those things. But today, I'm going to ask you to just expand the way that you think. So everything that you think about classroom management is true, but there are some additional pieces to classroom management that needs to be added to our paradigm of what classroom management is, especially since it seems like since COVID, our technology has almost taken over. Um, and we have really expedited our journey in technology. But today, I'm just going to ask you again to expand your knowledge or expand your paradigm as it relates to classroom management. Am I able to share my screen here?
Yes,
Yes.
please.
Okay, thank you. All right. So I don't know what it's like where you are, but where um, we are seeing teachers. We have a drought of teachers here. So I don't know if it is the same where you are. But here there is a drought. It's not that we don't have people that can teach. It is that we don't have a lot of people who are willing to learn the craft to be able to be effective in the role of teacher. And it is a very, very important role, and you really do need to learn your craft. So, what I have been training, we have teachers coming from everywhere, or people who are stepping up to be teachers from all walks of life. Okay. So, we have people who have never thought about being in a classroom, and now they're going to the classroom to help us out. And we also have some teachers they have all the book knowledge, but they don't necessarily have all of the necessary applications to be able to make it work, make their classroom work. Your classroom should flow. It should be seamless every day. Your transitions, everything from the time the child comes into the door, before they even get to the door, you should already have in your mind the plan that you're going to carry out for your classroom. It used to be that I would engage in conversations with teachers often about lesson plans and things of that sort. They just thought it was such a penalty. They thought that it was just a punishment that I was making them write a plan, and I would spend so much time with them on that plan because it's very, very important that you take the time to act out or think through every single aspect of your class if you're going to teach. Every single aspect from the time they get to the door all the way until they leave your classroom. Every transition should be thought of. Every activity you should think through, everything. And you should practice, practice, practice. I often ask the question to my teachers who are learning to teach. I'll ask them, would you allow a heart surgeon to perform surgery on you that never practiced? They never engaged in any form of practice. They just read about it. And then they're just going to come and perform surgery on you. Would you allow that? And you should see the responses on their faces. They just think that it's just such just a tragedy. They're like, no, I would never. That he needs to lose his license. She needs to lose her license. And it's the same because while we are not heart surgeons, we are surgeons of the mind. And so we need to make sure that we've done more than just read through our lesson plans or just studied the actual skill that we're teaching for the day. We have to get up and practice those things so that when you get in front of your students, they don't get the part of you that's still learning. They get the master teacher. That's what you want to present to your teachers, to your students always. You want to present the mastery side of you. You want to present the side of you that has been developed, the side of you that is ready to rock and roll. You know your stuff, and you know more than your stuff, you know them. And you know more than them, you know how to get them to learn. The phrase, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink the water. And I always combat that phrase with, no, but I can put salt in the horse's mouth and make him thirsty. And then he's going to drink that water. So as a teacher, you always have to strategize your learning, okay? All right, so let's get to our expanded paradigm. And I'm not going to be before you long. I hope that you've already been able to get some nuggets. Let's talk about what classroom management really is, okay? Classroom, look, and I made this definition up, okay? So I figured I went to school so many years, I can just do it if I want to. So I did. She thought about it and she did it. Okay. So the definition that I use for my teachers is the process a teacher uses to design an instructional environment that yields student achievement. It is more than behavior. And I see you see that little guy on the side. He has absolutely nothing to do with my presentation when I'm teaching my teachers. I just thought it was just the cutest thing, but now I'm married and I have to go change the picture and I never changed it, okay? So it's the process that a teacher uses to design an instructional environment that yields student achievement. So the word that I want you to focus on when it comes to classroom management is process, the processes, okay? It's the processes that you are putting in place, the processes that you design. It's not just, little Susie or Billy or whoever, they made some bad choices today and now I have to figure out how to walk them through those bad choices. No, you are the manager of an instructional environment. That's who you are. That's what classroom management is. You are the manager of an instructional environment, okay? So I like to, because I don't have long, I'm going to fly through this. I like to give my teachers this acronym, CAPSI, okay? Classroom management consists of curriculum, the curriculum that you teach. It consists of the administrative part of your job. I know you feel like, oh, why am I checking all these papers? I'm doing all of this. I should just be able to teach. But when it comes to classroom management or teaching, administration is a part of your job, whether you know it or not, okay? Being able to administer the curriculum, being able to organize your space and manage it, that is a part of your job. The paperwork that is assigned to that particular position, if you have paperwork in your area, is also a part of classroom management. The parent community, although we don't always want to engage a lot with that community, they are a very important part of your classroom management, very important part. And then there is the student management, and I have that highlighted in a different color because most people, when you say classroom management, that's what they think of, managing students. But it's more than just managing students, okay? And then the last part is you. You have to be able to manage you. That's your home life, your everything has to be managed in order for you to have that effective classroom management. And I think that we leave that part out. So when it comes to, let's go back to the top, curriculum. Curriculum, we all know what that is. Your standards, whatever you're teaching from, if you're teaching math, whatever the skills are assigned to whatever grade level, that you need to be able to teach that. You need to teach it with fluency. You need to know your stuff. Nothing worries me more than a teacher who gets up and does not know their stuff. Why are you here this morning? Why are you here today? Okay. You have to study. That's a part of your management. You have to study. With the technology that we have available now, it used to be that we had to acquire all of our materials, assemble them, organize them. But listen, with things like Chat GPT and all of the AI resources that are out, you don't even have to do that anymore. The major part of what you have to do is study. Study so that you show yourself as the master teacher in front of your students. The administration part has to do a lot with your organization and structure, making sure you find out all of the things that your principal or your school leader expects from you so that you can organize those things. If they have a certain attendance policy that you have to abide by, making sure you know that and making sure you have a system in place so that you can meet that expectation without it interrupting your instruction. See, all of those things. You have to make sure if they have an expectation for the day, maybe, I don't know, we have mini pep rallies here and we have lots of things going on. I mean, I worked in a high school for I don't know how many years, and it never stopped. Okay, we had games, we had all kinds of things that were going on, but whatever your administrative team or your school leaders expect from you, you have to be able to manage those expectations along with whatever curriculum expectations are in place. Okay, then the parent community, which we love to leave out, which we cannot leave out because they spend a lot of time with their children. They have a vision for their children, and you are the aid to the vision that they have in their home for their children. So you can't leave them out. I'm a big parent advocate because my parents were very involved in my education. And I've also, over the 20 years that I've worked in education, I've seen the impact that it can have on your classroom, on your school when there is a parent involved. And we get discouraged because we feel like every single parent has to be involved. But if you look at your research, Joyce Epstein, if you are familiar with her work, she's big on being a parent advocate, and she has lots of research on the impact of parents in schools. And it doesn't even take a lot of parents to make an impact. It only takes about 10% of your parent population. If you can get at least 10% involved, that's great. And then change what involved means. Every home has a different priority. So you have to find a way to change what parent involvement means. You know, when I was going to school, it meant, the person that was baking the cupcakes and bringing them to school, the people that were at the school events all the time. That was parent engagement to us. But if there is a parent who has a different home structure and maybe their priority is working and providing for their family, then parent engagement might look like they respond to you when you send them a text message or when you send them an email or when you call them, they pick up the phone. Parent engagement can be observed in many different ways. Okay. So just kind of, relax on the parent engagement, just making sure that you honor the priority of the home and find a way. And the best way to do that is to do some extensive research on your children before you even start school. So for us, we were able to have when I was a teacher, we had our schedule and our class roster well before the school year started. And look, I worried my principal until he gave it to me because I knew the type of research I wanted to do. I wanted to read their cumulative folder, the folder that has all their information in it. It has every single report card. It has, and I don't know what kind of database that might be for you, but whatever student database you have access to, I would take time and I would read everything in there. Sometimes they had parent notes in there. that would help me understand if a student's home was encountering a certain challenge. They had every report card in that particular database, so I was able to see comments from previous teachers. So if I had 5 students and the teachers are always saying that they talk too much in class, then I knew when I get ready to organize my class, then they were not going to be sitting beside each other. That was for sure, because I already know that they talk too much. So being able to use that information and conducting extensive research on your students is very, very important. And if they are older students that are very much so involved in school, they have coaches, they have, there may be some external people in the community that has that child's ear. You need to know before you start, if you can, who has your student's ear. If it's not you, it's somebody. And you need to know who that person is, because when it comes to managing your class, you're going to need to know that person if you encounter challenges, or if you are working with them and you see they have more potential than you're able to pull out. Maybe you need that person who has their ear to help you pull out that potential. Okay, so the parent community is extremely important. Then you have your student management, which most people are very well versed on. I like to say the bottom line is respect. If you can respect them, I know, if you grew up like me, adults just have respect, period. It doesn't matter what you're thinking at your age if you are younger. The elders have the floor, okay? And that still remains true, but it doesn't hurt to be respectful to them, because respect is free. And then last but certainly not least, when it comes to classroom management, you need to be able to manage you. I tell teachers all the time that, well, first, I didn't have all the technology that they have now. With all the technology that you have now, there's no need to give up your home life and all of those things. I didn't have all of that, when I was teaching. I think I like to say I came through the hard way, but now teachers have so many tools at their hand. Utilizing older teachers who have done this already before, and they have tools and they have resources for you to tap into, man, find them. And guess what? They don't have to be in your area now. The internet is so vast. I am here because Miss Modley asked me to come here. I hope I pronounced your name right. Mamadli.
Okay, just call me Shalala.
Shalala. Okay.
Yes.
I'm here because Shalala and I connected via technology, right? So there are so many different ways that you can access resources so that you can ease up some of the pressure on you as a teacher, right? You want to be able to spend time with your family, because that's the place where you are renewed. That's the place where you get energy again. You want to be able to leave and turn it off, right? When I was a teacher, I could not do that. Okay. I think that was my one big flaw as a teacher, is that I did not know how to manage myself along with the job. I didn't know how to turn it off. But I plead with the younger generation, and I tell them all the time, find a way to turn it off. Make sure you have hobbies that you engage in. Spend time with your family, because when you spend all your time helping others, you don't want to look back and have missed so many things in your own life. So I do stress to make sure that you manage you, that you have time where you just get yourself together. I don't know if massages is my thing. So I have a day every month that I go and I'll get a massage, and sometimes twice, okay? Well, I'll go and I will relax, get a massage, and do what I need to do in order to give my best self all the time. You want to put yourself, manage yourself so that you can give your best self all the time, whatever that means for you. Okay. And that is my speech for today. If there are any questions, I'll definitely answer them, but I know that you wanted minimal time. So that is my presentation for you today.
Thank you. Thank you, dear doctor. Thank you for joining us today and for enlightening us on such an important topic as classroom management. Your high energy is really contagious. Thank you for sharing with us your positive vibes. And, people are watching us from Nigeria, Azerbaijan, India,
Wow.
African Republic, Georgia, North Macedonia, Egypt, Burkina Faso, Lebanon, so far. So thank you.
Oh, wow.
Thank
I
you
wish I could answer
well done.
questions for them if they had some.
Yes. Okay,
Oh,
so
wow.
now I would like to invite our next guest, Mr. George Knight. Let me give you some information about him. He began his study of psychology and human behavior in 1987. He proceeded to get his degree in psychology from the University of Manitoba, where he graduated in the Dean's Honors List. Mr. Knight believes in the concept of constant and never-ending learning. Because of this, he has studied over 75 programs and courses in the fields of psychology, neuroscience, personal development, business development, and health over the years. He is certified as a strategic intervention coach, health and nutrition coach, and as well as a master hypnotist and hypnotherapist, and has been trained by world-renowned Tony Robbins and Dr. Chloe Madanis, in addition to many other top trainers in the world. Mr. Knight is available for speaking and training engagement on topics of business development and personal development. The floor is yours, Mr. Knight.
Wow, what a nice introduction. It makes me seem a little bit old when you tell them when I started my studying, though. That was a little while ago. So what I'm going to do first is I'd like to just share my screen, I guess, right? So let's see here. I can push share screen. Let's see if this works.
Yes.
That one and share. Okay, I think it's sharing. It should be sharing. And can I maximize this thing or can I not? Enter slideshow. Let me just see. Okay, is that kind of full screen for everybody?
Yeah, now it's fine.
Now it's fine? Okay, fantastic. Technology, what can I say? I haven't done very much on online platforms. This is kind of new for me. Mostly it's been in person, most of my trainings. So it's kind of nice to be here and have a chance to talk to everyone here. And I got my work cut out for me following that great talk that I caught the tail end of. That was fantastic. It was really nice to hear what I heard of it. So for me, I'm going to be addressing a slightly different aspect of this and the idea of emotion and memory. Because as a speaker, as a trainer, we want people to remember what we say. Right? I mean, this is the most important thing, is for people to remember what we're teaching them, what we're trying to impart to them. Now, this training today is very short. It's a piece of a larger training that I do that involves lots of different aspects of improving memory. So this is just one part of how we can improve memory. And I think it's a very important part, and it's something you can very easily apply to a speaking engagement or a classroom setting or any kind of group for that matter. So let's just click on this. We have the cute kid here with the incredible math. And here we go. So why is it important? Well, if knowledge is power, then learning is your superpower. Quite simple. I heard that years ago, and I thought that's such a cool phrase that it just stuck in my mind, and I love to share it with anyone I can, because it's so important. Because if you were granted one wish and you could learn any subject in the entire world just like that, Would it be physics? Would it be math? Would it be history? For me, it would be learning. Because if I could master that one skill, I could learn anything much, much faster. So having the understanding of how our minds and how our brains learn things, which are two different things, there is a neuroscience component and there's a psychological component to memory, right? And today we're going to talk about a little bit of that psychological component. And even the smallest thing I put here, remembering somebody's name. It seems like a small thing, but how many times do we forget people's names, right? And the sweetest sound anyone can hear is their own name. Absolutely. If you've met someone and a week later they walk up to you and they say, "Hey, George, how's it going?" And you're like, "Wow, they remembered my name." The first feeling you have is this positive, good feeling. So learning as just a fundamental thing for life beyond what you learn in a classroom is so very important because it can create relationships, it can create rapport, it can impact your life in so many different ways. So I added that little thing there just to illustrate it goes beyond the classroom, right? And we got another cool kid here with great math. I mean, that math is way beyond me. But let's go on to the next section of this. So the good news, research has shown that only 1/3 of your memory ability is based on your genetics. There is a genetic component, of course, right? But it's only 1/3, which is great news because it means 2/3 of your memory is completely in your control. How much you can improve it, how much you can make it better, the majority of that is in your control. And it boils down to two things. It boils down to your lifestyle and it boils down to your state. So really your habits and your emotions really dictate how well you can remember something. And today we're going to go a little bit on that emotional side of the equation to give a little bit of that and how we can implement that in a group setting, in a classroom setting, and how we can have some fun with it because the whole point is emotions, right? And it's positive emotions that are going to impact how you learn something. So feelings matter. Quite simply, information times emotion equals long-term memory, right? This is a great simple equation. I like math, although those kids at the beginning on those pictures had much better math than me. But I know that anything times 0 is 0, right? And quite simply, boredom is a 0 emotional state. So if you are bored, you're not learning anything. So when you see a group and they're droopy-eyed and everything else, they're not going to be retaining very much. I've taught roughly 14,000 hours in the classroom setting, in group settings, classroom settings, about 14,000 hours of teaching experience. And I will tell you the one time I really don't like teaching is right after lunch. Give it before lunch, give it maybe 2 sessions after lunch, but never right immediately when they're coming back after lunch, right? Because what are they doing? They're heavy. They're going from a fun environment to an environment where they think it's work. So the psychology has changed, the physiology has changed, and it's hard to engage them, right? But it's important to engage them because anything times 0 is 0. So we want to make sure we get that engagement. So I have here Copernicus example. So now it's story time. I'm going to give you a wonderful little story to illustrate this point. So when I was studying in the beginning of my degree, I decided to take astronomy as my science credit. Now, the reason I chose astronomy was, hey, you get to look at the stars, you get to go to the out into the fields and, draw the star maps. And it sounded so cool. Although I didn't realize at the time that 90% of the course was physics and math. So, of course, physics and math, it's pretty hard to have a high emotional state on physics and math. Who gets excited about math? So then our professor told us that he's going to be teaching us the history of astronomy. So now I'm thinking the history of math. Like information times 0 times 0, right? 2 topics that seemed very boring. I was thinking, how am I going to survive a 3-hour lecture on the history of math? I had no idea. So I was in the classroom, the day came, the door opened, and my professor walked in, and he was dressed in clothes from the 1400s, the same as a professor would wear in the 1500s, clothes from 600 years ago. That's how he was dressed. He walked to the front of the classroom. He introduced himself as Copernicus, and he continued to tell his life story as if he was Copernicus. We were glued. There was about 100 people in the lecture hall. We were glued to him. Every word he said, we were like just amazed. This is something we had never seen before. Our emotional level definitely was very, very high, right? And then at the end, we gave him a standing ovation, which I don't know if any of you recall your university time, but how many of you recall a math and physics professor getting a standing ovation? Probably not too many of you. So we gave him a standing ovation, he took a bow, and he left the classroom. Now, this was a wonderful experience to me, but the most important part I want to illustrate to you is that that class happened 30 years ago. That day happened to me 30 years ago, and it's still clear in my mind. That is the importance of emotion when you're learning. I can't even remember some of my professors' names from the 1990s, but I can remember that class, him walking in, him teaching, him telling us the history. I can remember it vividly because of the importance of emotion in long-term memory. So just to illustrate how important that is. So let's just jump over here, and it comes down to managing one's state. So we know emotion's important, and we know that emotions affect our physiology. I can look at anyone. I know that he's sad, he's happy, he's angry, you can see. How do we know? We can see by how they look. Are they smiling and laughing? They're obviously happy, right? Do they look kind of drowsy? Are their shoulders hunched forward, their chest compressed, they're looking down? They're probably kind of feeling sad or bored, right? We know by the body how people are feeling. But most people think that emotions affect the body, but they forget that the body affects emotion, right? So if I wanted to change someone's emotional state, I can change their physical state, and I will change their emotional state, right? I can tell you to sit, hunch your shoulders forward, compress your rib cage, breathe shallow, look down, put a frown on your face, think about something sad, and you may even cry. You will feel sad. If I tell you to sit up straight, pull your shoulders back, open up your chest, breathe deeply, put a smile on your face, and without changing your body, think of that same sad memory or sad thing, you're not going to feel sad unless you change how your body looks, right? So when we think of emotion, don't think one direction, think both. So since we know that our physiology can affect emotion, we can take that into the classroom, right? If I was to walk into a room and all of a sudden I got a group of people after lunch and they're looking sleepy and tired and bored already, and I haven't even started talking yet and they're bored, then the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put on a lot of energy for myself, because how we act is contagious. Happiness is contagious. Joy is contagious, right? So if I have energy, I'm happy, I'm having fun, automatically that will lift them up a little bit, right? But that's not enough. I want to also engage them, because learning is not a spectator sport. Learning is an active sport, right? So we want to actively engage people. So I'll walk in, a lot of energy, a lot of emotion. I may look at the group a while and say, wow, you guys look terrible. And why not? You're the leader, you're the teacher, you're the speaker. You can say anything you want, actually. Don't worry about it. I never do. And a few people might chuckle. And I'll say, okay, well, let's fix this. Everyone stand up. Then I'll say, just kidding, sit down. I'll say, no, I wasn't kidding, stand back up. Turn them into a yo-yo. Make them go up and down a few times. It's your group, it's your class. Have fun with it. The more fun you have, the more fun they're gonna have. They might look confused. They might think like, what is going on? But you're going to notice breaks in their behavior. You're going to notice some of them smiling, some of them looking confused, some of them going, this is weird, right? But you're going to break their pattern. And this is one of the things where it's going to lift them out of that state into a higher emotional state where they can remember something, right? Get them to jump up and down and high five each other. Get them to run around the classroom. Get them to do whatever you want them to do. It's your classroom. It's your group, right? So have some fun with it yourself. That's one of the most important things. One of the things I always teach. Make sure you're having fun. If you're not having fun, they're not going to have fun, right? So you have some fun with it. And then they're going on, they're doing that. You sit them down, get into the lesson. As you get into the lesson, make sure you have engagement. Don't let them fall back into it. One thing I love to do is I always raise my finger to my ear. I'll say, like, say we're teaching history. This happened in 1750. When? And put my finger to my ear. Let them repeat it, right? And if they don't repeat it, train them. Train them. Say, okay, when I do this, repeat it. It happened in 1770. When? 1770. Get them to do it 3 or 4 times. Train them so that every time you do it, they repeat, right? A simple engagement. And as you do that and you train them, every time you get to an important point you want them to remember, you can just do that. They repeat it, do it a couple times, it'll stick with them. Also, things that I teach students, I get them to teach it back to me. Because teaching is awesome, because when you teach something, you get to learn it twice, right? So teaching is also something really, really important. So there's lots of ways we can engage, but physically engage them. I taught a program with the executives from the World Bank. So I had 78 executives from the World Bank that I was doing a team building training for. Do you think I got them jumping up and down, spinning around and doing weird things? Absolutely. I had the regional director of the World Bank doing crazy stuff. It doesn't matter if it's kids or CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. This way of doing things works with everybody. Take a small little plushie, like a soft little animal or soft little teddy bear. Every time you ask a question, toss it out into the class. Whoever it lands on is the person that has to answer the question. All right. So as you do this, your enjoyment will go up. As your enjoyment goes up, their enjoyment goes up. And of course, the higher the emotional state, the more they're going to remember from that day, which is so very, very important. So as we go here, here's just some main points that I covered today. So learning is the true superpower, of course. The sweetest sound to everyone's ears is their name. Anything times 0 is 0, so make sure boredom is not around you. If people look bored, engage them physically. Get them to stand up, get them to jump up and down, get them to do some breathing, whatever you want to do, whatever you're comfortable doing, right? Get them out of their chairs and sitting on the floor. It's completely up to your imagination. And that's the most important thing. As a teacher, as a speaker, as a trainer, use your imagination and have fun with that, right? So emotions are physical, and it's not just emotions causing a physical reaction, it's a physical reaction causing emotions. So you have control over the emotional state of your group, and you can influence that, and it's really important that you do. The last thing I have here, of course, learning is not a spectator sport, but I have below that a small point. That's the name of a book. It's called Spark by Dr. John Ratey. And it is an amazing book based on how physiology affects learning and memory. It's based on a couple decades of study and research. It is a fantastic book if you're interested in the relationship of physiology and learning. It's awesome. And I wanted to give you something to carry you forward after this talk that you could learn more about this subject if you wanted to, if it's interesting to you, that is. And I tried to keep this within time. I know I had a short time here, So then I have my wonderful little thank you page. Has my website there and has my Facebook. I don't have any other social media at the moment. I probably will make some. When I do, I'll stick it on the Facebook page if you're already following me, and you'll be able to see it there. So I don't know if anyone has any questions, or how's it going, Shalala?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Knight. Thank you for your great presentation on the role of emotions in long-term memory, and also for sharing with us your wonderful tips. Thank you so much.
I hope people can bring that forward and use it in their groups, and
yes, sure.
not only have success, but have a lot of fun with it, because
yes.
I mean, most of our life is spent at work. We should enjoy what we're doing.
Yes, actually, all of them were practical, so I'm sure they will benefit from them.
I tried to give you as much as I could in 15 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Shalala.
Thank you.
And I need to stop sharing the screen here. There we go. Okay.
Okay, and now I would like to invite our next guest from Georgia, Miss Elena Tatsua. She has been teaching English for more than 15 years at Tbilisi State University. She's the founder of organization English Teacher Space, and her degree is MA in English Literature. At the moment, she is pursuing doctoral degree in linguistics. She's interested in educational psychology, neuroscience, and neurolinguistics, intercultural communication. The floor is yours, Miss Tatsua, please.
Thanks a lot. Thank you for inviting me to this wonderful conference. I would like to thank my previous presenters for wonderful presentations, really. And what I'm going to do is to share the screen first. Let me share. So am I sharing? Can you confirm?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm honored, really, to be invited to this wonderful conference, because this is a great opportunity for teachers all over the world, I mean, for international society to share our experiences, to support each other, to improve education system in our countries, I mean, in our educational settings. So I'm really happy to be here and to be sharing my experiences. So education is the most powerful weapon we can use to change the world. This is the kind of continuity of George's presentation about emotion and power of emotion, and I'm also interested in that topic a lot. Today's presentation topic is integrating culture in language education, and Shalala has mentioned a few words about me, so that's why I'm not going to talk about it. Just one thing I wanted to mention here is that being the founder of English Teacher Space gave me a lot of opportunities to implement many projects on cultural teaching. I mean, international projects. In 2022, I implemented a project in which more than two countries participated, and it was a great success. So that's why I focused on this topic, which I'm happy to share with you today. Well, briefly, just because in 10 minutes it's really difficult to talk about such a great topic, I will talk about aims and roles, approaches, outcomes and framework, and importance of integrating cultural elements in language education, mainly in English language. I will focus on cultural knowledge, awareness and competence by Trinh Xie, who is the researcher in Vietnam. So the main, I'm the child of 90s, black 90s, we call it in Georgia. As everybody knows, Georgia was the member state, how to say, like the member country of Soviet Union. And in those times, actually, I was a kid, and I remember for my parents and that those periods Georgian citizens could not go to Europe or to America for traveling. So everything was so separated from civilized world that these kind of cultural or multicultural relations were not possible that time. So I guess you know these two figures, political figures, Mikhail Gorbachev and Eduard Shevardnadze, who brought USSR to the end, and they started the process of perestroika. After perestroika, which destroyed USSR, for sure Georgia became the post-Soviet Union country like other countries, and we had a great chance to become the part of globalized world, which led to create a multicultural environment. But you know, this was a big challenge for Georgia, because Georgia is conservative and a traditional country and very ancient country, it was really difficult to be integrated to different cultures. Though we are a very tolerant nation, but for bringing and taking out some of the cultural elements was a challenge, actually. But this globalization process really made it easier to become the part of the globalized world because of the immigration, tourism, technological development also had a great impact. So that's why, as far as still in Georgia, we have the kind of attitude towards diversity or discrimination or some this stuff that still needs to be integrated in our society. Last year I just made up the kind of subject at the university, which is called intercultural education. I've been teaching it for 2 semesters. That's why today I focus on integrating culture. You know, on this slide you can see several ideas of researchers and educators on bringing some roles in language teaching, of cultural teaching. I mean, but you know, this is the too long text, but I will read only the last one, which is very important to bear in mind when we want to integrate culture in language teaching. Students get positive attitude towards diversity and start to understand their culture more. By integrating culture in language teaching, it creates skills which help students speak and write in culturally appropriate way. Well, in general, teaching culture, we can do it in any language, right? You can agree, even in Georgian language, but English language, English language teachers have a great opportunity, and we are very privileged to teach culture simultaneously with the language. So cultural content is very important, and approaches when we bring in cultural elements. You can see on the screen that I just wanted to share with you some theories, because it's very important to know the overall background of integrating culture. There are 3 very important points about connecting language and culture, like universal links, national links, and local links. There are 3 types of cultural information. You can see the target culture, the source culture, and the international culture. Also, there are 3 main approaches: the knowledge-based approach, the contrastive approach, and intercultural approach. Now here, I will concentrate on the objectives of culture teaching, which activate proper skills in our students, and which is very important in 21st century. So provide cultural background information, prepare students for future intercultural encounters, and promote tolerance and empathy. So in this, in the last but not least theoretical slide, I would like to underline that Chang Thi, who is the researcher in Vietnam, created this kind of levels of framework: cultural knowledge, cultural awareness, and cultural competence. If we really want to integrate culture in English language teaching, we can concentrate and we can follow all these stages. First is the knowledge. It means that we need to bring in the lesson, during the lesson, some knowledge about, for example, example, target culture. We are teaching local culture or some other cultures, knowledge about it, like literature, history, etc. So awareness is the perception of cultural values, and the cultural competence means that when we support students during learning a language, they get prepared and get ready for bringing this cultural awareness and knowledge into practice. So they can self-reflect, they can compare, they can make positive impact on their culture and on other cultures. So that's very important. Well, as I have mentioned, my project was implemented in 2022, online project, exploring cultures through languages. I followed David Kolb's four-stage experimental approach, and I always like emphasize that Stephen Krashen's effective filter hypothesis is very important because it creates empathy and it creates the kind of emotion, positive attitude towards learning different language, different culture. And you can see here the acronym empathy, thoughtfulness, and security, which is the similar acronym to my organization, ETS. So I will just go faster. These are the effective filter hypotheses, like motivation, self-confidence, so decreasing anxiety and some improving personality traits, which is also as a result, it comes from culture in language education. Well, during my project, I went deeper and I started researching some grammar structures and grammar structures from the perspectives of culture. And I will give you just one example in comparative studies, like I compare grammar structures in Georgian language and in English language when there are similar connotations but different purposes of using this grammar structure. This is causative, and you know what I find very interesting in English language, the reality of causative is absolutely rendered by the pure grammar structure, which is followed like this: have plus object and plus past participle. And the Englishman just expresses the reality that that hairdresser cut his hair, like in this sentence, I had my hair cut yesterday, right? But in Georgian language, we also have this kind of, similar tense, but not the kind of causative grammar structure. But we, in general, do not use it. But we answer the question. For example, where have you been? I cut my hair. But we mean, you can just follow what I'm saying. I mean that I went to the hairdresser who cut my hair, but I use this structure. I cut my hair, not I had my hair cut yesterday. So I think I'm just talking to you in an understandable way. What I mean is that maybe Georgians are a little lazy about rendering or expressing reality in details. So this is the kind of very interesting point that I'm going to research further in the future. And this is also connected to culture, because culture is the set of behavior, we agree. So I had my hair cut yesterday. This is the causative. We can just summarize this using of this kind of method or attitude in teaching. We have four: meaning and use. We need the empathy, feeling of empathy, in order to understand every grammar structure or even idioms or some phrases in English language, to search for cultural background. We need to be thoughtful. Thoughtfulness is very important. Some cognitive skills to compare and to analyze the fact. So we find some cultural fact and we feel secure. Well, security, when I teach my students, I have this kind of feeling when some students don't understand the topic or I have some issue, I think that they feel insecure, right? So understanding topic makes them feel self-confident and they do really feel secure. Yes. I asked my friend from Bangladesh, Tajima Jabin, who participated in the project which we implemented online in 2022. I wanted her to share her opinion about this project when we researched and explored culture together. Okay, let's watch her and listen.
Empathy, thoughtfulness, and security. That's the motto of ETS, English Teachers Space, Georgia. Last year, we have participated in a global project held by ETS, that is, exploring, sharing, and saving culture. Hello, my name is Tajima Jebin, and I was the coordinator from Bangladesh in this project. My students have also learned how to be culturally tolerant towards each other throughout the world. I think this is very important for all of us to establish a peaceful world. We need to be culturally tolerant, thoughtful towards each other, and we need to be secured. That's what the ETS beholds. And my students have also become more confident than ever because they were given the security that is the full support and freedom. When a person is given the support and freedom, he or she feels the security. That's what we need in this present world. I'm very glad to be a part of this project, including my students. Thank you, ETS.
Thank you very much. So this is all I wanted to share with you today. I think exploring culture really brings more opportunities to share our traditions, our cultural background, and to really bring peace to the world. We decrease the aggression and we increase more understanding between, among people, among nations, and this is a great opportunity for English language teachers to include and integrate cultural teaching in English, in language education. Thank you very much. This was all that I wanted to share with you. Actually, there are a lot of things to talk about, but I tried to wrap it up in 10 minutes. Thank you, Shalala.
Thank you, dear Elena. Thank you for giving us information, for talking about your interesting projects. I think integrating culture in our language lessons is very important if we want to foster global citizenship in our students.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the main purpose. And I would like to implement some other projects. And if you are willing, you can just, we can do it together in the future.
Yes, of course. Why not? I would be happy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And now I would like to invite our next guest from the USA, Mike Littman. He is president, founder, and CEO of Mike's International. His expertise: thought leader, entrepreneurship and leadership coach, motivational speaker, certified NLP, MPM, CBT, life and success coach. Mr. Mike Littman, the floor is yours. You can add information about yourself as well.
For sure, I appreciate it for having me here right now, and I'm feeling pretty excited, elated, and most importantly, thrilled because I was, listening deeper information, like, and it's really amazing, and I really appreciate it. Yes, I just want to get started, like how I've been teaching in my class, because a classroom is the greatest room ever. I feel like in my life, because there's a lot of energy, what I get and I really share to the kids. So when I get into my classroom and I have different kind of experience while because I don't want to bring any kind of music into my classroom. I don't want to yell. So most of the time it happens in my classroom when because um, kids don't accept anything less than 100%. So you could have more than 100%, especially with the younger kids. So I've been like teaching to the younger kids, the parents and the teachers and the leaders, like everybody at the same time. So it was a nice experience. When I feel kids like they are not attentive, so what I do is I mostly I have these kind of attention grabbers. What I use in my classroom, focus, focus, everybody focus. Okay, this is what I do when my kids in my classroom, they are not attentive. So I mostly do this. And when I start my class, I use this attention grabber. And when I feel like my kids are being distracted, and I told you, like, just don't accept anything less than 100%. When my students, they're not looking at me, and they get busy with their friends, like sitting on their right or left. So then I do it, macaroni and cheese. And everyone, like, they say, everybody free. Macaroni and cheese, everybody free. So I have different kind of callbacks, what I use in my classroom. So I just want to share one story. A decade ago, I've been like teaching the youngest kids. I've been motivating kids by telling inspirational stories. Because I personally feel what the biggest difference in successful and unsuccessful people is about the stories. Because unsuccessful people, they have different unsuccessful stories. So I always wanted to share stories in my classroom, and I made my classroom as a fun classroom, the place where if someone asked me so what's most important, then I would say like fun is most important because of happiness, you can bring a lot of new things into your classroom. You can bring more perspicaciousness and insightfulness into your classroom. So I was a teacher, but I was just a teacher. I was not that much incredible teacher in my life. So I met a guy. He was a great teacher. He was now 65. I met him, and he was weeping. And I asked, like, hey, I never noticed you like weeping. So why are you weeping, sir? So he told me I'm missing my last year class because now they are promoted to next grade. So I'm really missing it. Wow, my goodness. That was a moment and seriously brought significant emotional event in my life. Like that's a teacher. So first, like we need to know what's the real content of the teacher. So at that day, like it was an eye opener for me in my life that I could know like, yeah, he is the teacher. And I just wanted to know more about him. And I noticed it was his birthday, and I noticed he was collecting a lot of gifts from the couriers. And I asked him, so what's he getting? What's it like after every some 1 hour or like after some time, like he was getting more and more gifts. And I asked, well, what's happening? Because it's my birthday, and my students from the last decade I've been teaching like somewhere. So at some other place, so my students they are sending me gifts for my birthday. Wow, that's a connection. So that day I learned that if you're a teacher, if you're a great teacher, because it's a choice again. There are many types of teachers, good teachers, great teachers, and incredible teachers. But remember, there are only two types of people in the world, teachers and other people. But at that day, I could know like what the teacher is actually. He had a greatest relationship with his students, the greatest relationship, like they were just like a life partner for him. So since that day, I decided like today, from today, I have to become a teacher who can bring more fun and more connection and more love. And love is not something like what you do, it's not a word. Love is something what you become, that's who you are. So you are love. So wherever you are love, and you attract a lot of energy. one day, my son asked me, sir, Papa, I just want to get a lot of diamonds. I said, why don't you become a diamond? So there's the context. If you really become a diamond, so wherever you are, wherever you will be fight, definitely you would have certainly different advantages in my life. What I could do in my classroom, because I recently have designed one course, is for 13 to 14 years kids, like they can qualify for my test for my course. This is soft skills development course. It's kind of course, like after 6 months training, any kid can become CEO of any top corporate company. So I personally feel, and I'm bringing more entrepreneurship into the kids and this is the only possible life with help and interaction with the parents. So I'm bringing more entrepreneurial skills and attitude into the kids. Definitely, you need a very special time. Even when I have a free time in my school, so my kids they come really to me and they really talk. They love to talk to me, other than my classroom teaching. Um, I personally I don't believe in classroom because classroom is only a place where you can take work with you for your dinner, lunch, or anything. It's just for the place, like it's a place where you can take work. I don't believe in classroom for the teaching. I feel the kids, they feel okay. Uh, my own kid, like he's one day complained, why don't you make our home as a school? I said, yes, that's possible. So then I learned like what I can do more for the schools, and I started to bring more fun and more home kind of environment at my classroom. I've never been teaching in a classroom. I've always been teaching outside the classroom. I had one great experience in my like 2 decades training teaching with a young kid. Whenever I wrapped up my classroom, whenever I finished my class, I just wanted to go out, and it happened not just one day. It's been happening for 2 decades. The kids, they come and they stop me in the door. I always try to go out of my room, but they always stop me. Hey, no, Mikey, we won't allow you like to go out. Please stay here. Kids want to stay with me. I have a connection with them. I have a great love with them. I've been in China, so someone asked me in some school, it was a public school, they asked me, how do you think about the kids? Because that's the most significant question for the teacher. So I said, I love kids. And they never asked me the question. And I started my work with the young kids because unless you don't have love for the kids, and you, as a teacher, you are not loved, so you can't impact the people. You can't impact your students. I don't call them students, I call them clients. And most importantly, I don't treat my kids in class just the kids. I treat them like the mature people. I have the same content for the young people and the same content I train the corporate people, like the director managers or the CEOs in the company. So I have the same content. I use the same attention grabber. I use the same callback. So along with this, I'm bringing something more and different, like to energize my class. So I'm bringing energizers, brain breakers, okay, and I bring the brain teasers and the raw my class is more interesting. My kids in my school, they never want to go back from my classroom. And once they get back, they're always asking to their parents and to the management and to other teachers, like, hey, where's my kid? Where's my kid? We're missing him. We're missing him. We need him back in our classroom. And it's been happening for 2 decades. If I miss my class, so my students they straightforward, like they go to the leadership, they go to the principal rooms, and they say, hey, where's my kid? We're missing him. We can't go into the classroom. And the parents told me these stories that if our kid is not coming to school, they say, won't you want to go like to the my class? I said, okay, if there's only my class, I can go to the school. This is what the Nobel Prizes have been winning for that.
Mr. Littman, you are muted.
Oh, we lost him. No, no.
Yes, I think he has
No.
some connection
He-
problems.
He is with us. Just
Yeah.
he muted.
Okay, so sometimes it happens. So dear Inga, how do you think? Should we invite our next guest?
Yes, dear. 1 minute. Let me check.
When he comes back, he may continue his speech. Maybe, yes. Right?
Yes. She have
Okay.
internet issue, I think.
Yeah.
Yes. Go ahead, dear. Welcome.
So now I would like to invite an amazing teacher from Azerbaijan, Miss Ayten Meharamova. She has 23 years of work experience. She's a TESOL TEFL certified English teacher, NC State University ELT certificate program graduate with honors in 2022. She's actively participating in American Embassy and British Council projects. She's a member of Azerbaijan Foreign Language Teachers Association. She's regularly preparing her students for different competitions. So the floor is yours, dear teacher Ayten.
Thank you,
Please.
dear Shalana. I'm so happy to be here, to be a part of this valuable conference with other speakers. And I'm so thankful all previous speakers for sharing their experiences with us. So valuable information with us. And thanks. I want to thank to IIU for creating such great opportunities for us for sharing our knowledge. And today I would like to share. Can I share my screen, please, dear Shalala?
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Please. Okay. Yes, just a moment. Yes. Okay. Yes, today I want to speak about positive classroom environment. My name is Ayten Meharamova. I'm from Azerbaijan, from Baku, and I work as an English teacher at school number 104. And I have been teaching English for 24 years. And I'm so happy that I'm a teacher because when I teach, I feel happiness, great happiness and enthusiasm. I love teaching. I love being with my students and spending time with them. It gives great pleasure for me. Today, I want to speak about a positive classroom environment. Okay. Just a moment. Okay. Now, what's a positive classroom environment? A positive classroom environment is one in which students feel comfortable, sharing their thoughts, taking risks, and asking questions and confronting challenges in their learning. An educator can create this type of environment by presenting clear classroom expectations, providing opportunities to improve social skills, also building relationships with their students and offering relevant content. In this type of classroom setting, students feel as though educators value their input. And from here, students can become more active participants in the learning process, which makes for a more productive learning environment. Here is a list of methods that help create a positive classroom environment. Build positive relationships. Building positive relationships with your students helps them feel as though they can come to you with questions on assignments or when they facing a challenge. Many of them may appreciate knowing they have someone they can trust or to whom they can confide. You can build rapport with their students by taking time to interact with them individually, listening to their comments and concerns, and showing enthusiasm when they come to you and share the experiences and stories. And now try to arrange the physical environment. Arranging the physical environment of a classroom provides a structure for students
which can decrease stress levels and helps them feel more comfortable in class. Consider organizing your classroom by assigning seats to students, establishing routines for passing out and collecting work, and ensuring all desks face in front of the room so they can see the board. Try to set high academic expectations. Keep your expectations high, clear, and consistent. It's important to set high academic expectations for your students early in the school year. Explain your expectations by letting them know you are going to do best to help them learn and are always available if they need assistance, but in return, you expect them to do their best on their work too. It's also beneficial to elaborate on your grading policy so they understand what you permit in terms of grading. For example, you can tell them if you allow them to read your test if they didn't do well for the first time, and how much time you permit them to turn in late work. Try to provide positive reinforcement. Providing positive reinforcement helps to promote this strong classroom culture. One method of positive reinforcement is through providing extrinsic motivators. Extrinsic motivators are external factors that motivate students to behave positively, such as giving students candy for doing well on a test or allowing them 5 minutes of free time at the end of the class, or providing students with public praise is also a good extrinsic motivator. You can compliment a student's behavior or academic performance in front of the classmates, or take the time to contact their parents and let them know the positive behaviors the child has been exhibiting. Now, I think all teachers must be open to feedback. Throughout the school year, teachers usually provide a lot of feedback regarding students' work and behavior. It's beneficial to consider asking for feedback from your students as well. Receiving feedback from your learners about how you manage your class is very important. Strengthen your positive classroom environment. And it's very important that the content you are teaching and your also general mannerism can give you insight into what you are doing well and how you can improve. In addition, many students appreciate when you value their opinion, which can strengthen your positive classroom environment too. Encourage collaboration. Collaboration among students can lead to a more engaged class of students. In order to foster collaboration that's productive, consider clarifying the expectations and reasons for collaboration before you allow them to work in groups or pairs. It's beneficial for them to understand their objective and why they are working together. You may want to create groups based on the different skills and interest levels to each group's members so that all students working together can contribute to the overall objective of the assignment or project. Be there for them. A simple yet effective component of creating a positive classroom environment is to provide support for your students when they need it. Some students face academic challenges or need someone to talk to about a personal situation they are handling at home. With this, students often appreciate having someone they can trust, listen to them, and give advice when appropriate. It reassures many students to know they have someone that listens to them and comforts them too. Give students a voice and a choice. When students feel their opinion matters, they are more likely to share during class discussions. Promoting student empowerment begins with providing opportunities for students to share their opinions, take risks, and decide how they learn best. This builds self-confidence, which supports a more positive learning environment. Student-centered learning focuses on allowing learners to share in class decisions and gives them more opportunities to learn in a way that feels most comfortable to them. Offering them more choices in how they learn helps them to be involved in decisions that impact their learning. If they feel that their input matters, they may seem more connected. Establish a routine. A lot of students thrive on having a dependable daily routine in some aspects of their lives. Knowing what to expect when they enter your classroom can create a sense of normalcy for students. Classroom routines can consist of starting each day with a bell ringer, reviewing the day's objectives, or ending each class with an exit ticket. You may also consider doing the same activities on the same day each week. For example, you can go to the library to use technology every Tuesday or have a reading day in class each Friday. Establishing a routine allows students to know what to expect each day when they enter your classroom. Review classroom procedures. Creating classroom procedures can be a beneficial way to create a routine and help establish a pattern of predictability for your students. Procedures can be academic, such as how you collect student work or grade their assignments. Setting expectations helps maintain the daily structure of your classroom and can aid significantly with classroom management. When students know what you intend to follow through the consequences, if they disobey your rules and expectations, they tend to behave more positively. Also, try to provide flexibility. While it's beneficial to provide students with routines and procedures, it's important to know when to be flexible with your expectations. Adjusting your expectations to each situation that arises gives students opportunity to see that you can encounter challenging situations and provide them and yourself with flexibility if needed. They can also be more general routines, such as maybe, you can be flexible during unexpected situations, such as when a student has a crisis or needs to use their phone to call a parent in case of a fire drill, or if you need to revise a rule for one class because it doesn't apply to their behavior. Thank you very much. That's the end of my presentation. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Mrs. Saitan. Thank you for interesting presentation. But before moving to our next guest, I would like to invite Mr. Mike Littman again. He joined us. He had some connection problems. Mr. Littman, the floor is yours. You can wrap up, please.
Appreciate it. I really wanted to wrap up. So what I'm teaching to my students in my classes, I have some great messages for them, and they are really following those messages, and they are really getting a lot out of it. So number one message is don't consider the possibility of failure. So I'm just inculcating and instilling this passion to the kids that whenever you get started, whenever you start something new in your class or in your life, so don't consider the possibility of failure. So always get started with the highest rate of outcome in your mind. And don't consider that you're going to get failed, because if you're going to get failed, you will learn. Because you can't learn from success. You only can learn from your failures. I personally had a lot of failures in my life, so failures are blessing in your life. So number one is don't consider the possibility of failures. Once in the United States, 1,000 top failure entrepreneurs were brought into the conference, and they were asked, like, what was the biggest reason of your failing in your project? So they told many reasons, but one reason was totally common among all the entrepreneurs and the top tycoon business people. That was like when they said, like, 1 hour. And when we started up our project, before getting started, we had a fear in our heart. We were 50-50. We were not sure that we could get success out of it. So we had a doubt in our heart and mind that maybe we can get success or maybe we can get failure. But anyway, they just get started off. So we have to inculcate, and we have to get all our kids really, to move. Whenever they get started anything new in their life, they need to know, like, they will get started with the convincing. They must have a belief that they just going to win. And number two, when nothing works first time, whatever you're doing in your life, it never gets success the first time. Like if you can drive, If you first time when you driving a car, like you were not successful. If, even like you were when you got like your first Android telephone, you were not expert in on a day one. So you take time, it takes time, it takes many efforts like to get to. So don't worry about number of failures because it's part of game. Because you know the Thomas Edward is on failed 10,000 times. And a lot of people, a lot of success stories, we have in our life. The number of failures is not yet determined. We just have to get started. The number of failures are not yet finalized. So it's a probability like you can get successful. And nothing works with time. I once had a personal experience that my friend's home in that particular time. Like I lost my mom. My mom was died, and I started to call mama, a friend of my mother of my friend. I started to call her mom. And whenever I went in her house, like she brought a lot of dishes on the table, she served the table. And I asked Mama, how do you manage like within no time? And I come and you just serve all the dishes over the table. She said, because I'm expert at it. I said, how? How do you get an expert? So she said on day one, like I made all the electric dishes. My first dish, nobody liked it. But now I'm expert, and I personally experienced with her, like when I went with her in the kitchen, she was just putting the salt and the chilies and every kind of the stuff without like measuring the spoon or the thing. I said, how could you do it? She said, I have 35 years experience in it, and the first time it never worked. So nothing works first time. You have to give multiple tries. You try, you fail, you try, you fail, and you try differently, and you try in a different way. So you're the success in your life. And one more lesson I'm teaching to my kids that everyone on this group is your family member. It's really overcoming the biasness and all kind of discriminations they're overcoming with help of this powerful line that everyone in this group is my family member. Why? Because whatever you're doing in your life, you're doing for your family member. You are teaching, you're teaching for your family members. You are in entrepreneurship, you're in a business, you are doing your business for your family members. Whatever you're doing in your life, you're doing it for your family members, for your family. But if you start treating everyone around you, everybody on the globe like your family member, I can make it sure you gotta give more than 100% because if someone from your family asks you like to buy something for you, so you definitely want to get the best product, the best item for him or her. So if you go to treat everyone as your family member, so you go to do, and you can compromise giving less than 100%. You always would love to give more than 100%. So this is the most significant lesson, and we in a class when we need to emphasize, I mean to teach all our students, like everyone who's around you is your family member, not just in your classroom, not just in school, everybody in this club. So you must treat everyone like your classroom, like your family member. So the last thing what I need to it would be my concluding point that dreams are never personal. Never dream personally. Your dreams are not about your personal success. You don't need to get worried about your personal financial number. You need to get worried about one biggest challenge, like what you can't experience. You don't want to experience it for you in your life, for your family member, or for you. So that is your biggest dream, and you are going to dream big. You are not dream too big just for your one poor family of the globe. You're born to dream for everyone around the globe. So remember, dreams are never personal. All right. If dreams are never personal, your success is never personal. If you are just getting alone successful in your culture, in your society, in your country, you're not successful because it's contagious like other energies. If you are getting success, everyone around you must get success. So if dreams are never personal, so success is not personal, so responsibility is also not personal. So you're responsible for everybody on this globe. If you could enrich with this particular emotion and the feeling in your life, I can make you sure you will create a conducive place for your next generation. So thank you very much for your time. I know your time is so valuable, and more Chilenos are waiting for their turn. So I really appreciate it for being with this time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your inspirational speech, Mr. Littman.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Littman. We really very appreciate your words. Thank you so much. Thank you all really very wonderful conference we have today. Amazing job, amazing. Thank you so much, dear Shalala.
Yes, and I would like to invite our next guest from Azerbaijan, Mrs. Kubra Salmanova. She's a teacher of English with 17 years of experience who implements projects financed by the US Embassy, mainly focusing on work with disadvantaged communities in rural areas of our country, applying the communicative approach in language teaching. So you are welcome, dear teacher Kubra. Please.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you for this invitation. I'm really very happy to be a part of such a great meeting today. Thank you all of the presenters for such informative session. And also, I would love to thank Ms. Elena Tatsua for her presentation, because my presentation is also about the same topic, about integration of culture. To tell the truth, at first I was at a loss, like what can I add to such a kind of presentation?
It's very nice. We learn a lot. Thank you.
But I'll try to make it as practical as possible, because we heard a lot of good points at the theoretical part, and I have nothing to add from that concern. Hope it will be informative also. And let me share my screen and begin. So it's again about integration of culture into English language classroom. And can I share it?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, good. So, as we all know, there are three kinds of culture. First of all, this is source culture, international culture, and target culture. And to tell the truth, there are, of course, lots of debates about the importance of other two cultures, like source and international, while teaching foreign language. However, most of the scholars assume that it's very important to use also source culture, because this enhances the ability of self-confidence, self-reflectiveness, and also gives the ability to express ourselves. International culture is very important to build cross-cultural collaboration, tolerance, and cultural competence of students. And of course, target culture enhances motivation, makes the process easier and fun, and also arises cultural intelligence. So this is not a secret that we have to collaborate and work together, and also integrate all these three cultures in our lessons. And today I'm going to speak about the most popular, the easiest, the fun ways to integrate it. First of all, this is about using cultural context. So when we use some cultural themes, holidays, traditions, daily practices like phrasal impressions and so on, it allows learners to make it easier to acquire faster the language. Also, we use authentic materials that, to tell the truth, students love. When we use like everything, beginning from primary songs and ending with news articles and movies. This is, again, there are 2 points that we cover by this. We cover grammar and cultural aspects of the language teaching. Also, we can use cultural comparison, like in debates, in some kinds of writings, in essays, discussions, or even some kinds of assignments. Cultural projects, my favorite part. As a teacher who is implementing class-to-class virtual exchanges for 2 years, I can say that this is a part of culture teaching that students also enjoy the most. And during this, they also try to improve the English language because they're like phrases of the very strong concern, and they explore a lot about their own culture, like social culture, about international culture, try to be tolerant, try to be patient with others, and very, very polite. So here we also can add music, cuisine, historical events, again, holidays, and so many other aspects of life. For that, we can use role-playing and simulations, again, mostly taken from literature, from movies. By the way, teaching literature is very important. Why? Because, again, we are free to use any kind of literature, of course, if it's age appropriate, like culture appropriate for us. And we provide it in storytelling, perspectives, cultural values, in any other aspects, and add there some grammar. Also, field trips. Of course, field trips are not always possible because of financial issues, but we are free to arrange virtual tours. And from my own experience, I can say that this helps a lot. For example, last year we had virtual tour to Washington, D.C. with our students to mark the President's Day, and they were amazed. And I was amazed to see how much they learned after this virtual tour. They were investigating about the US in general, about the US president's geography and so on. And I felt like, yes, my target is here and this works good. Also, we can arrange some kind of discussion forums. And I would love to thank Shalala, teacher, because she gives such an opportunity to our students to participate at some kind of international conferences. And this is also very good follow on for our students, because as it was mentioned before, I'm working with disadvantaged communities. And then such kind of meetings give them opportunity to develop, to stay on the same page with others and develop themselves. Actually, the last one, I would say language exchange programs. Of course, for us teachers who work with US Embassy, one of the main points is to facilitate their applying to exchange programs. And the easiest way is to arrange some meetings with volunteers, with ETAs, with also alumnus of previous years of exchange projects. And I would say that's all. Here's my sources used for today's presentation. And I would like to thank you all once more for this opportunity. Thank you. And if you have any questions, I'm here for you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, dear Miss Kubra, for your practical tips. It was very interesting.
Yes, very interesting.
All of them are applicable. Yes, we can just take it right away and apply it in our language lessons. Thank you.
Thank you.
And our last guest is also from Azerbaijan. Amazing student, Eldar Aliyev. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you well. Okay, yes, today I prepared the same speech, like inspirational speech as Mr. Mike Littman. I want to discuss one of the main aspects of language learning, and it is the language barrier. Like in some regions and especially in some villages of our country, I don't mention the other countries, they have the same problem. So they have barriers. Like, what are the language barriers themselves? They can be developed from the differences in dialects at first, and they can be developed in the closed, isolated community of people who speak the same language. Like if we choose English language in Azerbaijan, lots of people, especially in the regions, don't speak English at all. Why? They don't speak English because they can't? No, they can speak English, but they don't have community to do it. They don't have people to share their opinions with. Also, I can mention that lots of regions in Azerbaijan are now practicing the methods to cope with the growing language barriers. As an example, it's Free Club, organized by U.S. Embassy in Azerbaijan, and American corners, like American centers in Ganja, Shamkir, Saral, and Kiran, Hijmas, and other regions. But if we see deeper, we see the schools. And schools are the main problem because lots of inexperienced teachers, and maybe teachers who don't know their language, just go to schools and teach children this language. And this becomes really serious problem when almost 90% of teachers are unqualified. I think like how can we solve this problem? We can just get more qualified teachers and replace the less qualified with them. Some topics just were discussed by our Ministry of Education, and they considered to do the certification process in English, like the interview and the tests, to increase the level of teachers' proficiency in order to cope with the language barrier issues. Also, our government decided like to develop more and more international, not let's say exchange, but international discussions. For example, this one in which I'm participating is an international meeting, and I can share my opinions without the language barrier. So the same meetings are organized every day, every year, by lots of communities who want to cope with this with me.
So thank you, dear Eldar, for sharing your concerns about language teaching. It was very interesting. Thank you. And dear Inga, have you got anything to say?
What to say? Congratulations to all of you. Thank you so much, everyone. Really very amazing or interesting. Congratulations and thank you once again. Dear Shalala, we are proud of you as always.
Yes.
As always,
so much.
We have very, very nice conference.
Yes,
Thank you.
really. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to meet up a lot of interesting people. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us, for being with us on today's enlightening journey of learning and collaboration. Thank you. Take care of yourself.
Yes.
And safe travels on your educational journey. Keep the passion for learning burning bright. Bye and see you soon.
Bye. Thank you so much once again to all. Thank you, IIU. Thank you, IIU best team, Georgian team, Mr. Pierre, for this really amazing opportunity. Congratulations. I share link participants. Thank you so much. You are with us always. Please fill the link. I share now. Okay.
Our audience support us and it matters a lot to us, really. Thank you.
Well done.
Bye.
Bye.